You have a choice. What will you do?
Love.
Even the way you said it sounded like a lie.
Love.
You good?
You say it.
Love.
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 Welcome back to the 50 Days of Evolution podcast. I am your host, Chris Wilson. I'm here today with the one, the only, the beautiful, the creative, the one. I mean, goodness gracious, guys. I mean, this woman has started so many businesses. Her initials are LLC. Lindsay Lee Crisp.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
What's up?
Nada. I love that intro.
Thanks. I practiced it while I was pooping at Optimus Hall.
Really?
Yeah. So choice is what we're talking about today.
Choice. Let me say first, the two chapters that we're currently reading right now, choice and addiction. I was cleaning the house today, just pondering, and I just think that's so cool that those are side by side.
Yeah. He really was up to something, the way these chapters are ordered. I hope you guys have been enjoying these podcasts. We have enjoyed making them, and we're so excited for this week's content. So the third part of the book is, the big theme of it is responsibility. And within the big theme of responsibility, choice is the first chapter. Gary says one way or another, somewhere in the chapter, that choosing to not make choices is acting irresponsibly. Making choices and making responsible choices is the way. And so we're going to explore today how to make choices responsibly, what it looks and feels like to make choices responsibly and irresponsibly, and share some personal experience from both.
Yeah, which I'm like, is there even such a thing as choosing not to make a choice? Isn't that a choice?
It is. And the way that he words it is to choose not to make a choice. And I'm glad he put that in there, because, like, I think that for a long time I thought not choosing is not making a choice, but I am making the choice to not choose, and it's painful. And it's painful. Okay. It is not easy for a splintered personality to become whole, because only some parts of it seek wholeness. Gary goes on to say, the personality seeks to create what satisfies it, what it has become accustomed to. The splintered personality must always choose between opposing parts of itself. This is the backbone situation of our evolution. This is the foundational situation, the point of choice. The choice of intention is also the choice of karmic path.
Do you think Gary knows we're doing these podcasts?
I thought about that before we started today. I mean, I hope he does.
That would be so sweet.
Yeah. Maybe he'll pull up on us.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll pull up on us. And then I was thinking, like Gary's karma's so good that he's just like, he's having this universal ripple effect where we've dedicated a whole program and series to one of his writings, and he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
And so before you got here today, I was like, that's that good karma. That's that kind of karma I want to have, where good things are happening around me and people are moving forward stuff that I've intended to put out and impact the world in a good way, and I don't even know about it.
Yeah, I mean, Gary had to make some great conscious choices about how he spent his time to write this book and the many others that he has. And without those choices being made, you and I wouldn't have the ability to choose to sit here and talk about that content and have whatever ripple impact that's going to have.
A cool choice that he made was coming out of the life of being a hermit. And he talks about that on Oprah, like when writing this book, like he didn't realize that part of the work of putting it out was going to mean coming forth into the world and facing what came up from being connected. And part of his intention when he wrote it was to remain secluded. And or I guess that was his plans, not his intention. His intentions were to follow love, I guess, because he's out here. We out here.
So let's talk about that quote. The first thing, when you read that, the first thing I thought of was like the spiritual path. Okay, so there's that section where it's saying, I'm paraphrasing here, but in the path of love and the evolution of your soul, you will have to go against some part of your personality. So something of the moving forward is going to feel like something is being left behind, because it is. And it's like the pain of detaching from something. So I just think of how like this spiritual path, and that's such a big phrase that's used. It's like, what does that even mean? And let's just say evolution will not always feel like good vibes only.
It rubs up against like a lot of the personal development and spiritual teachings that I've learned along the way, which is like, don't reject a part of yourself, love all parts of yourself. I don't think that this is like an opposition to teachings like that, but I do like how Gary has differentiated the personality from the soul, and I like how he's bringing up that there are parts of yourself that are going to fight and not going to like what if you choose the intention of love. And so it took for me, like as I read through this content, some like letting go of like, oh, but if I don't speak in this moment, if I don't do whatever in a given situation, then I'm not being true to myself. But he's like, no, like you're not here to be true to the personality, because what the personality is up to is control, survival, competition, hierarchy, superior, inferior, control. So you got to leave some parts of yourself behind.
And being true to yourself, as that phrase is so often used, is like, well, you can do that, but you're going to keep getting the same self, lowercase s, that you've always gotten, as long as your intention is to be true to the version of you that you've always been.
And his call for us is like, be true to the yourself capital S, not yourself small s. And what I like, and let me read this part too, because I think this applies really great. In the chapter, Gary says, the personality is interested in itself. The soul is the energy of universal love, wisdom, and compassion. It creates with these energies. The personality understands power as external. When you align yourself with your personality, you give power to the realm of the five senses, to external circumstances and objects. You disempower yourself. As you grow aware of your spiritual self and your origin, your immortalness, and you choose and live according to that first and the physical second, you close the gap that exists between the personality and the soul. You begin to experience authentic power. So we organically just kind of started going down that path, and I wanted to put some of Gary's words to add context. And yeah, I feel like it's like we're upgrading the true to what? True to your impulses, true to your thoughts, true to the drivers that relate first to the physical world and therefore the external world, or true to the intention of love, the intention of compassion, the intention of you and I are the same. And he's asking us to upgrade what we're true to. And that personality self ain't going down without a fight. I can tell you, I feel it.
Yeah. It was a relief for me to read that there's a part of the personality that's going to resist, and it's going to feel like going against something, because there's somewhere along the way I have grabbed onto this idea that if I'm making good choices in my life, if I'm following in the path of love, it should always feel good. And so when it doesn't, my like intellect and my lower self can get involved in that and be like, no, see, alert, like you're resisting this, or part of you is screaming, no, this must not be the way. And
it's a relief to know that even making choices that align with our highest self don't have to be smooth.
Yeah.
Maybe doing the loving thing doesn't totally feel good. And this is what I heard from you, and I resonate with this. I'm choosing the thing that's from an intention of love, yet I'm not getting just solely this loving experience because there's a part of me that's splintered. There's a part of me that's like, no, don't be loving, or no, you're going to miss out on something because you're not being selfish right now, or you're not fulfilling a desire. And what I heard in your share is that you know that that's there, and it's like, oh, is something wrong? You know, and that's what I've have experienced, is like, I know in moments when I'm aligning to a way of love and being loving, yet I still am aware that there's a part of my personality that's discontent and that's still battling. And
yeah,
I think it's a relief to have Gary articulate, you know, that these different levels of our inner world. And so, yeah, nothing's wrong. That's part of the process.
Yeah, it's like it's growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary talks about it doesn't all have to be pain. And particularly, I want to get into you might have some quote on there on your paper. I want to get into what he shares about the karmic impact of you choosing in consciousness, like consciously choosing. Okay, there's something he said. What was it? He said,
okay.
Do you have it?
Okay. What I have, one thing that I want us to touch on is like that once we agree to consciously enter into the struggle, we consciously say, okay, I'm going to make choices that reflect love, that reflect the highest thing we can grasp for in any moment. When we agree to that, then instead of the karma playing out by choosing unconsciously, or instead of the karma playing out from living from our personalities, wants, and needs, what we do is we bring that karmic climax to the moment of choice. Mm-hmm. So there is no like negative karma that plays out for weeks or months or years or whatever. It's like right there in that moment, choosing love, the karma's right there. So there's the pain of letting go of the personality right there in that, at that apex moment.
Gosh, you're on fire.
I mean,
did you like just
chapter.
reread this chapter?
Well, I always read them the day that we film, and always take notes so that we got notes. Okay, I didn't quote this, and then he goes on to articulate within the chapter that let's say that you say, okay, jealousy I see jealousy coming up and I'm going to choose love no matter what form jealousy comes up every single time. Well, the jealousy don't say, okay, let me let off the gas. The jealousy floors it. And so now you're welcoming in. Now jealousy will start to show itself. It's like, I thought I was letting go of jealousy, and your soul's like, yeah, you are. And here's how. I'm gonna bring it in front of you time and time and time again. And so what we can do there is like the universe will answer our call. It's like, yo, I'm trying to get right. Okay. I want to let go of this jealousy thing. The universe will say, okay, well, if you want to accelerate the karmic energy, we don't have to play out karmic 27 more of your personalities over all the lifetimes and the rest of this lifetime. If you're serious about this jealousy thing, let's get it right now. Here it comes. Here it comes again. Here it comes again. Here it comes again. And that's it.
Yeah. That's an old Christian teaching is like you pray for patience. You don't get patience. You get opportunities to practice patience. And that the Earth School providing opportunities to really see and therefore be able to choose the path of love in the old patterns of our personality is a pretty great thing. And it also kind of feels like the image of like pulling up weeds is there for me. That's like, if you're really in the dirt, you really gotta dissect the thing. You've got to uproot it. And that doesn't look the same as picking off the top leaves and saying the weeds are gone. And it's a brave thing to ask to grow somewhere and ask to let go of something, because as we've both experienced in our own lives, you get that opportunity, and it requires a lot more feeling and a willingness to see the truth, and then an opportunity to choose the path of love.
And I say this with humility, so much of it. I'm starting to have little moments where when you say something I don't like when we're at the house, sometimes I'm starting to respond to the anger that's like, I'm about to tell you something. I'm starting to see that part of my personality get active, and I'm starting to be like, good. I'm starting to internalize that there's a dynamic at play and starting to appreciate the triggering. And I'm starting to embrace negative emotion in certain situations, not in all situations. And I'm working towards more and more of embracing my emotional experience. Because as you said, this is a choice to be in feeling, and it's a choice to be in feeling and love and learn from what I'm feeling. And so I think like this path requires so much courage, because it's like, oh, I'm going to choose to go forth. I'm going to choose to go forward that way. And what I think Gary is getting at in this chapter of choice, and what I feel is true, is the universe respects us as human beings walking that way. It's like the universe is like, okay.
Maybe it's the word is supports.
What did I say?
Respects. And because, it's respect.
Okay, I can use supports. The universe supports us consciously choosing a path of growth. And I feel like in my life, I've learned it in my head, and intuitively it's like, that's true, that the fruits that come from like choosing the way of truth have created a better life for me and will create a better life for everyone, other than like, well, whenever life decides I need to learn some lessons, then I'll just see how it happens. And so there's like honor. There's like an honor in like taking this like noble walk intentionally to the path of like, yeah, I need to get triggered. I need to do things I need to choose love and feel the internal war of my personality time and time again.
I was having a conversation with my mom last night. We were talking about one of my family members who is struggling with addiction, and this is a conversation we have a lot. We have often. And I was practicing, and I shared some of this with her. I was practicing really looking at this life experience as part of the Earth School, and looking at this looking at life circumstances as an opportunity for me to be in choice. And I share this because I want to share with everyone that, like, in the scenario of this family member, I'm not clear on what the Earth School has for me to learn. And I keep asking because I really do trust this part. And I love that Gary mentioned early with intuition, like, ask questions and you'll get answers. I keep asking, like, what is there here for me to evolve? What am I in this family dynamic to grow? What am I here to, like, choose different than parts of my personality have chosen in the past or lifetimes ago? And I wanted to bring this up to just share with you because it's been on my mind, and to put into the realm that, like, sometimes in life there's stuff that's really clear. It's like, oh, here's an area of my life to make a choice. And then other places it's like, I'll just say for me, I'm not clear on all the choices. Will you help me?
Yeah, because I think you are clear, and I think that the answer is right here for you. And so what is it? Why is this person that you love's long struggle with addiction? What is there here for you to learn?
Love. And that's one of those words that I know can sound like.
Why does that's clear. I feel that. My question is, why does your personality try to tell you that the lesson of love is unclear here? What's your personality holding on to?
My personality's holding on to, like, not saying it's not clear on what love looks like in this scenario. And it's like, well, love, okay, does that mean you never talk to this person again? Does that mean you go call this person right now and tell them, hey, I'm here, I love you? And then my personality's like, don't do that. Then they're going to, like, try to get you involved in whatever decisions they're making, or whatever.
So your personality is shielding you from the intention to love because why?
Because why? Because why? I don't know. Do you know?
Mm-mm. I feel like even in hearing, like, whenever you just went off and said, like, oh, well, I won't know what to say, and then I'll have to make this plan and that plan. Like, I heard, like, those, like, really, like, persuasive reasons why not to love. And what I heard was, like, like hijacking the love by, like, making, like, forecasting plans and saying, like, well, I can't figure the plan out, so I can't give love.
I remember something too. It just came through to me on this topic. Gary talked about like the love that a child might have for their father they haven't seen in a long time, and a love that like just people not in the same physical place can have and be with for each other. And I think for this family member, like I was just reminded of that. So I think there's something very true in there. It's like, it's the moving and living from heart space and like being and trusting that my love has reach and impact, and that it's felt, and that it's powerful, and that it's life-changing, and that it's true and it's clear, and that I don't have to be in the same space as that person. And like the work for me to do is to truly like channel light and love. It sounds so cheesy. I almost like want to tell Key to take that out, but like really to like be in my center, in my light, and like know that that's the most, I mean, that's everything. Love is everything.
That's all there is to do. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And one thing that like I'm learning on my path is that if you center in your heart the intention of love, then the personalities grasps at figuring out the what to do and the hows in these like probable yet still hypothetical situations of future interactions. From your heart, you will act. Mm-hmm. Like the heart doesn't need a plan. Like the heart will infuse love into whether the choice is to communicate or not, to answer the phone or not, and to respond to the text or not, and what there is to write and what there is to say. The intention will. This is a sentence for me. Like, an intention of love eases so much plan making. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to slurp the end of this down.
Yeah. There you go.
Shout out to our sponsor. Just kidding. I wish.
Yeah. Let's see. Gary Zukov introduces the concept of temptation and being tempted in life as loving compassion. Mm-hmm. Love it. Mm-hmm. Love it. Why do I love it? Because as a teenager, as a young adult, as a human being for most of my life, like I accepted even feeling tempted to do something bad as, oh, I'm already bad.
Oh, okay.
Not getting that temptation and being able to use that and forecast what the future would be like if I acted that out is compassionate. Mm-hmm. And is it's an insight into choice that I could make. And so I never thought of it that way. So I think it's a cool way to think about it.
I liked what he said in that section, and it all, like choice and addiction, they go really close together, which is great that they're both there. What he said in that section was that like we have the choice to experience being tempted as failures of that like dragons popped its head back up again. I think of drinking coffee and the times that I've consciously stepped away from coffee and how often that thought, desire, strategy around getting a cup of coffee will come up in a given day. And he said, he was talking about that can either be perceived as a failure, or there it goes again, or another opportunity to experience a victory. And like the more that temptation comes up, like the stronger the part of the soul that is love oriented in the direction of the new choice, like the more energizing that has, and the more distance it feels like is created with the splintered personality. The part Gary, this might be in the addiction section, but the part that he's like doesn't revere life, wants to act irresponsibly, wants excuses for the irresponsibility. He even says like temptation, like if we choose to follow it, can often be used as like I have no power over this thing. I can't make a different choice.
Versus temptation is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to win. It's an opportunity to practice the choice and observe your own growth, whatever you're being tempted by that you know is not good for you. And so big perspective shift, potential perspective shift. So responsible choice. What is responsible choice? This chapter includes like a few questions to ask that in any moment to check yourself for responsibility. What will this choice produce? Do I really want to create that? And am I ready to accept all of the consequences of making this choice? For me, the third one is the biggest, because like it's when am I ready to accept all of the consequences? I take that as like, I don't even know what's going to happen when I say this thing. I don't even know what's going to happen when I make this decision. And am I willing to move forward in my life into the unknown by like making this choice? And is it one where even if it goes awful, I'm like, my intention was there. My intention was true. My intention was aligned. And there's like a beautiful paradox in there where I feel like if my intention is right, stuff can't go horribly. But
I was just thinking that
in fear, it's like even if this goes horrible, like that's some of the fear there. So
yeah, which I do feel a lot of comfort in. Like if I'm truly making, like there will be circumstances in my life where stuff happens that is unforeseen. And if I'm making decisions from love and I'm choosing from love, the fruits of those actions will be love. But then it's like, but there might be some karmic debt that pops up from a past life. But if I'm at that point consciously choosing love, well, then I'm going to respond to that with conscious love.
Yeah.
And then that's going to have a different play out than...
And even how you meet this negative karma. Even how you meet it would be with love. Yeah, choice.
He says something in Choice about we're not responsible for the circumstances that come upon us in life. We're responsible... And I'll break that down a little bit more, but we're responsible for our reaction to it.
And that's also put another way is like we are not responsible for the outcomes. So it's like the situation we land in, we don't control totally because there's other factors in the universe and other people at play that dictate that, as well as outcome. We are responsible for our intention and response. And like reading this book and learning these lessons like Choice, it's starting to teach me about like my energetic boundary of like what I need to be worried about and what I don't need to be worried about. And as I read things like Choice, it's helping me practically be in my day and be like, don't need to worry about that. It's outside of my field. Don't need to worry about that. And like, it sounds so simple. People have said it so many times, like, don't worry about things you can't control.
Yeah.
But I'm learning what I can and cannot control. So this this is helping me get clear on
because there's
that.
parts of my personality that came into this thinking I could control it all. And I'm still attempting to control it all.
For sure. And those scared parts of you and I, they go to war.
Yeah. Because someone's got to control. I love you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Go out there and make some choices. And we'll see you next time.